Hello, how are you doing? We are live. This is Sunday, March 19th is the time of this live event, and we're going to just give a second for people to show up. If you're watching on YouTube, timestamps will be in the description, of course, to your readings. And we're just going to do, by the elements, sun, moon, or rising. So if you know how that works. So I'll see you there. But other than that, we will wait for everybody who's joining. Hey, everybody. I feel like I'm getting a much faster update of who's joining in real time. So hi, everybody. I hope you're doing freaking awesome today. I realize I'm a slightly later than I normally would be with these lives. And I was going to say maybe I need to adjust the time, but they're saying no. So I don't know. We'll see what they have me do. Hello. How's it going? Good afternoon. Good morning. Is that XXT? It is. Good morning. Too cool party ghoul. Good to see you. Hi. My Lynn. Hello. Good morning. Chris 0094. Good afternoon. How are you doing? Hey. You as well. Lucky to be here for the highest good, of course. Did it just start? It really did just start. Like literally just started. We just logged on here. Oh, I need to. I don't know if I need to, but it'd be good to. Okay, on mirror, so you can read my lovely, it's on mirrors and I'm handwriting in this sign here. Good morning from San Diego, just woke up. Perfect timing, perfect timing. Deep hang. Do I like pancakes or waffles? I honestly really love both. I love pancakes, but sometimes a good, I know it's kind of the same thing sometimes, but sometimes a really good Belgian waffle just like really hits the right spot, So keeps on freezing. Is it freezing for everybody, or I hope you're having a beautiful day as well, Chris 0094. Hey, Jenna. So we will start just the collective reading soon. It's freezing for you. No freezing there. Freezing for you too sometimes. Okay, so either you're off to a great start. Perfect, Andy Panda Pie. Good to see you. Looks good now. Okay. So either no freeze. Okay, cool. Thanks, John. Thanks for letting me know. I think we'll, what's the best thing for us to do? We'll proceed is what I'm getting to do. If it keeps freezing, just let me know. And either, I was going to say maybe I'll restart it, but they're saying no, don't do that. So I'm not going to do that. Okay, they would like to start the collective reading, so hopefully that is good. I just realized I don't have anything prepared ahead of time for the collective reading today, so we'll probably just flow with the messages coming through, or maybe we'll pull cards if they'd like me to. So, of course, if you're watching later on YouTube, this is for you when you see it. Otherwise, this is just meant to be just a collective reading for everyone here. You can take it as it resonates. We're starting the reading, I guess. So, fully for the highest good, buckle in. I don't know why I'm hearing buckle in, kids, but buckle in, and let's see what would be highest to come through for us first of all. The first thing they're showing me is a minivan, which is funny with buckle in, kids. And there's a soccer mom as well. So let me just sit with the message and see sit with the visual and the channel messages, see what comes through for you guys on this. Here's a really interesting message. So you know how like kids will get into a van or on a road trip and then the parents will be like, stop bickering or we'll turn this around. That's not the right setup, because it's not like you're bickering or anything like that, and Spirit's like, we're turning this van around as a punishment or anything like that at all. But it is kind of like Spirit is trying to turn the metaphorical minivan around in a weird way, and it's kind of about redirection is the way they were phrasing it for me. Just one quick message. Some of you might have like sort of got off on like the wrong road, like metaphorically, if you're driving on a highway, Spirit's just redirecting you. No biggie is what I'm hearing. So, and it's not like you're like on the wrong path or you've completely blown up your life in the worst ways and nothing can be rectified or anything like that. To the contrary, they like saying au contraire for whatever reason recently, but I just feel like Spirit's rectifying everything, and everywhere you like got off on the wrong foot or took a wrong turn. There's just a lot of redirection, like fixing all the mistakes right now, if that makes sense. So that's actually a really good thing. Some of you are potentially going on like the wrong roads to the wrong things. And Spirit's really just showing you why those things aren't for you. So for instance, maybe you're manifesting like one particular person, and Spirit's like, okay, like maybe you can have this, but it's like, are you sure? Because it's like right now you see this like shiny shell or exterior or this idea of this person, but you might not realize what's really going on the inside. So we're going to show you all these things about this person, and then we're going to show you why that's not for the highest good, and then we're going to bring you something better, for instance. So the Spirit's like turning the van around, but it's a good thing. Because you're going to be going where you're actually supposed to be going, if that makes sense. Kind of a weird first message, but I'll roll with it if that's the message here. The next message, we're kind of up in the sky here. We're actually like in an elevator going up to the sky. This is actually about ascension, interestingly enough. Like some of you are ascending without even, I mean, I guess, what's the best thing to say here? Some of you are ascending without really realizing it is kind of the message. But this elevator is kind of like stuck in a weird way. Like it got up to a certain point and then it got stuck. So let me see what the message is regarding this here. I mean, some of you just are like stuck in general. And what I'm hearing is spirits, the universe is really working to dislodge that or like really quickly here. So I feel like you're going to get unstuck pretty quickly. Especially if it's like a small way you're stuck is something I'm getting. For others of you here, maybe you've been on like some type of ascension path is what I'm hearing, and something's really like stuck you. Like hopefully it's never me that this happens regarding, but someone like spiritual teacher like said something and it really like stuck you with like a weird idea or some type of God forbid fear or something, and it's really, maybe it's causing you to limp forward where usually you used to sprint forward, or you feel like you should be able to move forward better, or it's just causing some hiccups, if you will. And what is the message about that one? Now's a really good time to sit with your fears and where you have been like stuck by whether it's certain spiritual teachings or maybe some spiritual teacher or someone said this one-off thing regarding spirituality and it was really like scary or something, and it's kind of hindered your forward progress in some ways. And on a certain level, like it's not like it wasn't supposed to happen. Like you're learning something by working through that, is what I'm getting. But I feel like you will be able to ascend past it, which is good. But what they were saying was like sitting with your fears and kind of unsticking yourself or looking at what's really true for you, because a lot of the fear out there isn't true, like regarding spirituality, perhaps regarding anything, but regarding spirituality. So there's just a lot of unfounded fear, like even topics like manifestation and like messing things up, and regarding what's in the etheric, especially regarding like old teachings. I don't know why they're showing me the 1800s right now. I don't think I've looked at a lot of spiritual teachings from the 1800s, if I'm being honest. But maybe there's just certain older things that don't fit anymore, or maybe at the time it's what people needed to hear, but it's not anymore, if that makes sense. So it's time to unstick yourself regarding all those things so you can just ascend more. And other than that, I feel like Spirit is unsticking you so you can ascend. Weird message. The next thing they're showing me is like a gerbil or like a hamster. So for some reason they're showing this. I'm not saying this is what's happening, but I'm going to tell you, I'll give you the play-by-play for this one of what I'm getting. They're giving me the phrase small things becoming big. And let me see what they mean by this one, or small problems becoming big. Some of you have smaller problems than you realize is something I'm getting. And it's tempting to look at them as big because nothing bigger is going on, if that makes sense. This isn't for all of you for whatever reason, this message. So I'm getting a weird message of like trying to resize your problems, but what does that actually mean or look like? So if you were to sit with just some of the things going on and just noticed anywhere you feel like your problems are huge, but they actually aren't, what can you do to kind of see them realistically and take appropriate action around them, or be really appreciative of the things that are going well and right in your life? That, I'm so sorry. I'm going to try and get this message in a more like just compact, like direct to the heart way, because I feel like it's, give me 1 second here. Okay. Some of you, your problems are just not as big as you think they are or as they appear, and spirit wants you to just take action anyways, if that makes sense. So for example, what could this potentially look like? The example they have me say a lot is, maybe you would like to start a business and you're just like, oh, my mom's going to hate me if I become rich because she always hates rich people. One, if you became rich, it would probably help her work through her stuff. Two, that could just be a really small, like, pequeño problem. I don't know why I spoke Spanish there. Small problem, you know? And she might not even be that mad. It might cause her to reevaluate her preconceived notions and realize, like, oh, I love my offspring anyways. Sorry, that was a weird way to phrase that. But I love my son or daughter or non-gender binary individual I'm sorry, I'm trying to find better words for things that are non-binary. My kid, I love my kid anyways. Thank you, universe. So sorry, everybody. But you know, sometimes these problems appear big, but they're not, you know. And if you let your mom and what your mom is comfortable with, and this could go with anyone in your life, you know, dictate like how successful you'll allow yourself to be or what actions you'll take in like life that your soul is calling you to take, then you're kind of hindering your progress and like maybe even what you're here to do here. And sure, you could argue that you're here to work through those things, and that's part of, I don't know, some people might use the word karma, or that's part of what your thing is right now to heal yourself, and that's fair enough. But sometimes we can't always just be like playing in the little playground sandbox of our problems. We kind of have to look at the bigger picture and take appropriate action, not to diminish what you're going through or anything like that. I feel like I'm not delivering this perfectly, so I apologize, but hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say with this. You could use the quote, don't make mountains out of molehills. You know, honestly, we're going to pull a card. Give me 1 second here. We have the Two of Wands coming out here just for the collective. So what's the message with the Two of Wands here? So in the Two of Wands, the world is in this person's hands. I feel like you have a lot more going for you than you realize, whether it's momentum or things that are just about to work out that you can't see, if like it's just over the horizon, like on this world, if that makes sense, is the way they're showing it to me. But if you keep going, it like works out, or certain problems resolve that you didn't realize could resolve, if that makes sense. There's also just, so anything else with this card? Besides, you have a lot more going for you than you realize, and you just need to keep going over that horizon where things will work out. Again, I feel like this person is a lot, like, I'm sure he has problems, but this person on the card has a lot less problems than they realize is something I'm getting, or their problems don't have to hold them back. Because the main problem is they think they can't take action because of their problems, but they actually can. I'm paraphrasing what I just heard. So I feel like the whole world is yours. You just have to take action is something I'm getting with this card, or work through your stuff so you can take action, or you realize your dreams are there, but maybe they're on the other side of this world. And this person, you, is what it's symbolizing, like can't see it right now, or can't see how to get there because they have to keep going over the curve and kind of trust spirit and their path as they're doing it. There's also just more for this person. One of the things this card can symbolize, one of the ways I've seen it read is like, you know, this person kind of thinks they have it all, but there's so much more for them. And that sort of applies in this situation is what I'm getting. I feel like it's just you have to take action to get more and not sit pretty necessarily. Okay, I guess that's it for the collective because they're saying no more for the collective, but I hope that was helpful and did whatever was for the highest good. I feel like I don't know. I won't judge it, but hopefully that made sense and was good for you guys. We're going to move on to the fire signs in just a second here. And thank you guys for, yes, awesome. Thanks you guys for all the likes on the live. I don't feel like I tend to thank you guys towards the end, but I just noticed you guys are setting their head again, and I appreciate that. And you don't have to, but it means a lot. So I'm gonna mark our sign here so we can move on. So, if you have a fire sign, sun, moon, or rising, this is going to be for you when you see it. I do have messages channeled down ahead of time this time, so we're going to delve into those. The first thing that came through for the fire signs, well, I guess it's not technically the first thing, but I tried to sit with like, okay, what's like a main like symbol or thing that shows up for each of these readings essentially. And the main thing that showed up for the fire signs was a monkey as like the main symbol. And pretty much what the monkey was about, actually they'd like to start with the rest of the reading and get to the monkey later, so we'll do that. The first thing they showed me was a rebound, and this one didn't make sense at first, but as we go through it, it'll make more sense. They just said for the fire signs that things are rebounding, so if you feel like you have fallen behind or have fallen, you have not. You are actually on the right track. Sometimes things are tricky. You are figuring life out. Don't worry too much about it. You are going to rebound if you feel like you have fallen. And that's kind of the main message, that last line, because they're like that. So you're going to rebound if you feel like you have fallen. I don't feel like it's this extreme. It could be like they're showing like a basketball falling and like hitting rock bottom and like rebounding, bouncing essentially. Or in basketball, when a player takes a shot, there's this concept of rebounding. Like a player on the same team can still like grab the ball and like dunk it or something if the first player misses. I want to say thank you so much to PKJ for that message. I really appreciate you letting me know. But a player could rebound the ball and like dunk it. And so it's kind of like you haven't missed. What's the best way to say this? For some of you, or maybe a lot of you, you might feel like you've missed a shot, but you haven't, if that makes sense. Like you'll get a second chance. That's not the main message. That's for a few of you. But for those of you who feel like you're fallen, you're going to rebound. Next, they show me... what do we go to next? Show me a buffalo. And this came through like once before a long time ago. And buffalo is not a common spirit animal, at least for me, that shows up for these readings. But the phrase I heard with buffalo was hairy and happy. So you are being, I'm not saying you're hairy, maybe you are, and that's okay. I don't judge. But you're being called to think of all the times you were happy and try to rebring those in. As in, when were you last fully happy? What were you doing? What will it take to rekindle that happiness? What do you need to do for yourself? You are going to be happy again. So it's a message to look at the times you were happy and perhaps look at what you were doing that made you happy. And if it still fits your life and makes sense, maybe you can bring some of that in for the highest good to help bring some more happiness in. For others of you, and like it is also a message, like they said at the end, like happiness is going to come in, like you will be happy again, and that could be encouragement if you're just like down, which hopefully very few of you are. But it's really just, it could be time to look at some of the things that make you happy and really bring that in. I feel like that's important right now for some reason, because sometimes we like forget or we get caught on a roll with something else, or we get wrapped up in like the drama of a relationship, for instance. Or we get wrapped up with work and we forget like, oh yeah, meditation helps me feel happy all the time. Or, oh yeah, I was going on hikes all the time at this period of time when I was really happy and really like resetting myself. And I was doing yoga every week. And I was meeting up with this friend. And maybe I could do a few things that I was doing back then to bring that energy back. So keep that in mind. It's really just about being happy. I also just feel like you're bringing back happiness in your life, which is good. But if you feel like you need to do something to do that, I would. It's something I'm getting. And sometimes it does take like reworking our mindset or what we will allow into our lives, if that makes sense. Like, what's the best way to say this then? So for those of you who feel like you've walled off everyone and you're not happy, maybe it's time to try and let like one person in that you trust or something like that, even if it's just family or an old friend or something like that. Some of you need to hear that, probably not all. The other message that was coming through is that you guys are on the right track. Like they really would like me to say that for the fire signs for some reason. I feel like a lot is going well or will be going well, which is fantastic for you guys. A lot's working out for you. I feel like there are walls that are crumbling is something they're showing me as well right now while we're on this track. And there might have been things that stopped you before in life that won't, such as maybe you were about to get in a relationship, for example, and you're like, no, I can't do it. Like all this past trauma resurfaces. You're like, oh, I just remember what happened last time and I can't. But it's like, you're going to be able to break through those walls for some of you. For others of you, they're just things that used to stop you that won't. And as far as what area that's in, it's different for each of you. Some of that's a working career. Some of you, it's maybe some of you have only gone so far in a career, but you'll get the opportunity to go further. Or maybe you these are just examples, but they're the examples I'm being shown. Like maybe you would like to start a business and it's never worked out before. Like you only make $1,000 and it doesn't work after that, but maybe you'll start a business and it will, for instance. And I don't know if these are the perfect examples, but hopefully you understand like what I'm trying to say, what they're trying to bring through. So anything else on you guys are on the right track here? I feel like some of you are afraid you're going to be stuck in a loop, but you're not going to be, is something I'm getting. Like you might feel like you're afraid of being stuck doing the same thing over and over and over again, like in work, or maybe even regarding like your happiness. Like you feel like you're stuck in a loop where you'll never be happy, but it's not true, is something I'm getting. And if you've been in that, you're busting out of it. I feel like you're busting out of it, or it just won't happen. And you know, sometimes the universe shows us something that's akin to or like a loop that's actually not a loop to like teach us something, or so that we like revisit a lot. Never mind. Sometimes I do that when they don't want me to say what I was about to say. So I'm sorry. Let me recenter and get the actual message for you guys here. What's the message? Universe, please help me out here. Okay, some of you have been revisiting lessons. You think you're in a loop, but you're not. You're actually about to rocket forward, which is really good. The next thing, they showed me a buffalo, but right after buffalo, they said water buffalo. And this one was like, they gave me the word work, but it was actually I didn't get this. I want to see what they'd like to bring in for this one here. So I'd like to be careful with this message because they're giving me the phrase, you're not a workhorse. And maybe you are, or you've been acting as one, and that's fine. And I think if that's part of your path and what you need to be doing right now, I understand. There's nothing wrong with being a workhorse, but it's more just like treating yourself as more than a beast of burden, and like treating yourself right is really, I feel like, more what they're trying to say. So if you're overworking yourself and there's a way to not overwork yourself, like stop overworking yourself, or find a different way to do it that's not overworking. And some of you are in a tough position like that, perhaps, where you have to work a ton. Like you just have to pay whatever, or for your job, or because you're trying to do multiple things right now. And that's okay, but do your best to balance that out with like adequate rest. And you're just not meant to be a beast of burden your whole life, if that makes sense. Like you're cut out for more than work, for those of you who need to hear that. The next message, they showed me a cruise ship, and kind of tied in. The message was relax and take a vacation. You don't have to do that right away, but if you can, relax and you will succeed. Even if it's just for 5 minutes a day, you've got to do something. So some of you do need to literally just find a way to cope or relax and not overwork yourself, or just don't like work so much that you can't do anything else if possible. But it seems like relaxation is important to you guys right now. They also, like, if you need to learn tools to do this, like learn Reiki or learn mindfulness meditation, something like I would do that. And you can do this, is something I'm getting, but I feel like relaxation is going to be key. I'll tell you the story because they're telling me to tell you this story. It just popped into my head and they're like, oh, tell them about that. I remember watching this, and I know I quote this and refer back to this a lot, but whatever. I was watching one of these Access Consciousness videos on YouTube with Dr. Dane here, and he does these things called ESB sessions that are really interesting, but he did this thing, and all of a sudden, like, I was like, oh, I just felt like kind of like, it was almost like tired or like sleepy a little bit. And then he asked this question, is like, oh, like, is it, because he was picking up on what was happening with, you know, who he was facilitating for. And I guess it was happening at the audience as well. It's like, okay, if you're feeling like kind of conked out, like ask yourself, is that tiredness or is that relaxation? And I'm like, oh, I'm getting it is relaxation. Like, that's interesting. Like relaxation felt like almost like I was falling physically asleep. I kind of wasn't. It was just like, oh man, it was just kind of like maybe not zoning out. So maybe sometimes we have a weird idea of what things are that's different than what they actually are. And why am I telling you this story? Because sometimes relaxation is different than what we think. So maybe ask the universe to show you what relaxation actually is for you as well. And you can try to get to that energy, and you can like feel into it or get a sense of it instead of like banging your head against the wall trying to figure this out mentally, if that makes sense. I don't know. That was just an interesting story, but maybe that's helpful in some way. I feel like there's more, is there? Nope. So the next message, they showed me a speedboat. They just said things are going to be speeding up again. So I feel like I get that message a lot, but we're kind of in that time, so it makes sense. They also showed the speedboat like ramping off of like a wave, and it was really strange. It was a very strange series of vivid visuals because this speedboat took a ramp off of like a wave through like this hoop. It was like a circus hoop sticking out of the water. I guess it could be on fire as well. And for some reason, I guess that's not important. One of the messages is like, you can do things you don't think you can do. And that is like, actually what they said is that's a huge premise of this reading. Interestingly enough, like a lot is possible for you that you don't realize, like regarding success, regarding career, regarding relaxation and finding time for yourself, regarding your best life and living it. And you know, I guess like the premise of a speedboat ramping off of a wave into a circus hoop sounds pretty improbable, but I guess it's pretty possible according to them. And it makes sense if you had a big enough hoop and the right wave, I guess it could happen. Or sometimes they have like little boat ramps, you know, like I'm digressing, but anyways, what else do we need to get to here? Just know that your life is possible and the things you desire are possible. The other thing that they showed me in this visual was like a stingray under the water while this was happening. And I don't know why they're showing me the Leonardo, is it Leonardo DiCaprio who played the Wolf of Wall Street character? I'm not a huge fan of that movie anymore, but they're showing that guy in the speedboat. I don't know why. Anyways, with the stingray, it was kind of a separate message because the stingray kind of moves through the water really smoothly. It kind of just glides. It's very serene. The message they gave me was smooth like glass, and they said life isn't necessarily always smooth, but it will be smoother soon. And I was going to go on a whole tirade, but they're telling me not to, so I won't. The next thing they'd like me to get to, they showed me that coral, like a coral reef. And they gave me the word rare and rare opportunity. They just said, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Rare opportunities are coming. Receive them and run. This is a time to receive opportunities, not question them. So what's the best way to say this here? Maybe your boss would like to give you a rare promotion at work, or there's a position that opens up that rarely does, and your boss is like, hey, do you want this? And they're just like, yeah, take it. Like, especially, I mean, if it's good, if it pays more and it's a good opportunity, you know, you can trust yourself regarding your life too and what you're feeling. But I'm just getting there's some type of rare opportunity coming that would be really good to receive and take in and not hold back on. And for some of you, it's like a business taking off is something I'm getting, which would be cool. That's awesome. Next message they'd like me to get to, they just said, you guys are on fire. Keep it up if you feel like you are on fire. Others of you are on fire with like healing and like working through issues and like releasing things. So keep it up as much as you can or feels right to you. You know, eventually we have to like, I'll say it. I don't feel like I need to say it, but I'll say it. Eventually it'd be good to get to joy. Like, you know, sometimes there's a purpose to healing and it's not just a healing crisis. And we're just like, it just kind of sucks. If that makes sense. Like, I don't feel like you guys are in this. I don't even know if you need to hear this really, but sometimes it makes sense to see our purpose of healing is getting to joy and being in vitality and enjoying our life and getting to a good spot and getting to where we're meant to be instead of as healing for healing's sake, if that makes sense. And there's nothing wrong with that. And, you know, sometimes there are people who got like a message in a reading and it's like, oh, you know, it's really beautiful. You're like always healing. I feel like that's different. Like if you have Wolverine healing powers, theoretically, that's fine. But, you know, if you're going through like healing crisis after healing crisis or healing cycle after healing cycle, and it's really difficult and awful, usually they're trying to get to something, not just keep going through that. So ask yourself why you keep going through that and try to get to a good spot instead and let the healing find you at the right times. instead of beating yourself to a pulp trying to heal. Sorry for that rant. Hopefully that was helpful for someone. But anyways, the message was that you guys are on fire in some capacity and to keep it up. Next message, they show, okay, now we're delving into monkey and why monkey was one of the main symbols. They said monkey means that you guys are working through the monkey. You guys are working through the monkey mind and think things are more complex than they really are in some ways. Try to let go of that and work with your intuition. That will help you. That is the key. So some of you are making things more complex than they really are, like even in like work or just like your problems is something I'm getting. Some of you, it's like, yes, you are a complex being, but it's actually really simple to heal you is something I'm getting as well. And you might not hear that very often, but it's what I'm hearing right now. But the thing is, like, working with your intuition is going to simplify things. So, feeling into different choices you have instead of thinking through it over and over and over again, or asking spirit for more of a sign or a message that's very concrete, and you can ask it to show it to you 3 times in a day if you really like that confirmation or something like that. It's something I've heard someone else talk about. It doesn't have to be that way. If you're really honed in and in tune with the signs, maybe you only need to see it once. You're like, I got you. Okay, let's go. But if you're newer to this or you're still working on it and you need more confirmation, and there is nothing wrong with that whatsoever. If you want to be absolutely sure, I understand. That's okay. You can do that. Those of you who already are like there and you're trusting, like, keep doing that. Those of you still working on building trust with the universe, don't worry about that. Keep doing that. But there's ways around that, I suppose you could say. Anyways, I feel like I am complicating this message more than I need to. So what else would help you guys regarding that message here? So anywhere you can start working with, practicing your intuition if you aren't already, could be helpful with like overcomplicated situations in general, is something I'm getting. And for those of you who are just really confused, and it doesn't have to be with me, honestly, book a reading is something I'm hearing with someone you trust. And it could even just be someone in your local area. That's really good too, like at a local shop or something like that. So I'm not sure why I'm hearing that, but that's something that could be helpful for you if you're really just having trouble working with your intuition right now. And some of you just need to work on your intuition though. So they want me to backtrack a little bit on that one. So the other thing with monkey I was getting, because I was initially getting it's about sorting through complexity. And I also just got a message that, would it be asking for me to say this? I'm going to hold off on it and see if they want me to revisit it, because they're kind of saying not to. So next message here. The other thing monkey also means is that you are letting go of old trauma and old things that are working out of your system. And they just said, I know we just talked about healing, but it is time to heal. But it's time to heal to like get to a good place, like we were talking about. Next. Okay. So should we get to that message we were avoiding earlier now? Nope. They want to go back to the speedboat for the fire signs here for whatever reason. And, the message for you guys regarding the speedboat, besides all that. So it's funny because they're showing me the speedboat and they're showing me like a monkey in the backseat of the speedboat along for the ride. And it's not really a camera, but in the visual, there's kind of like something that could be conceived of as like a camera view when he's looking at me or the camera or whatever it is. As the speedboat kind of goes through, and the words I see behind the boat as it's going through the water here are leaving old patterns behind. And that's kind of exactly what monkey is representing, in addition to what we talked about, or could be another thing, in addition to what we talked about. So some of you have been really struggling to leave old patterns, and maybe that's been really like a crux of like what this reading has been trying to talk about, or what you've been working through. And I feel like you will succeed. So even if you're trying to like, and I'm not a doctor, of course, so don't take this as medical advice, and some of you are like, oh, you think? Yeah. But just in case, I'm going to say disclaimers and things for legal purposes, I guess. But if you're trying to like quit an addiction or, and get the help you need, or you're trying to leave something behind that you need to leave behind that's been really difficult to leave behind, I feel like you will succeed. I would keep putting effort into it. And spirituality can be a really good method to heal. I always purport it. I feel like a lot of the modern world needs more accurate and good intuition and like good intuitive people in like every field, I feel like a lot of things would be rectified that are kind of modern problems or that could be future problems. Even in like technology or in a potentially doctor's office, if you had a good intuitive like helping out and assisting in those fields, or if like the doctors got really intuitive and they started to know what their patients were going through and what would actually help them, or in building technology, if people knew like, oh, this is what humanity needs next, and spirit's giving me the schematics for this new invention that's going to help with travel and making it safer, or with this new thing that's going to help people, like that'd be really cool. Why am I talking about all this? I feel like I'm getting distracted, but I'm so sorry. Let me recenter and get what they were actually trying to get to here. 'Cause I think maybe they wanted me to go on that rant, but besides all that here, we were talking about... maybe I'll just keep going and I'll circle back to it. But... because we were talking about you leaving old patterns. I'm so sorry, guys. You're talking about leaving old patterns behind. I'm just going to ask them to bring the next message through because I got lost in that. Or they can get me to keep going or whatever. Yep. If we had just good intuitives in every field and they were coming from a good place, I feel like the world would be a better place, or would rapidly change for the better, if people would allow those changes and allow that to happen. Especially if it was divinely guided, highest connected to source, and like divinely guided through that, that'd be really cool. So I feel like I didn't get out what I was trying to get out, and I really apologize, but hopefully I just got through enough that was for your highest good and would be like helpful for you guys right now. And maybe it just wasn't for the highest good to get that, what I was going to out of my mouth, right now for you guys here. But I feel like you guys are healing rapidly. I feel like you guys are leaving old patterns behind. And you're going to be able to step out of things that have really been like hindering you, as far as old patterns soon, which will be good. Beyond all that, actually, there's one more message. They're showing me an octopus, and they're showing this octopus like getting they're showing me sushi as well, and like a sushi chef, but they're showing this octopus like getting one of its tentacles like cut off here. And it's like one of the tentacles is like caught under a rock, and it like has to get its tentacle cut off to be free or something. So let me sit with that for a second because I don't like that. But I want to see where it's going for you guys. So some of you might have to cut certain things out of your life in order to like escape. And what does escape mean? Escape a certain pattern. Escape some of you it could be addiction. Escape a certain situation. And I'm not saying you literally have to cut a part of yourself off, unless it's like an old part of you that's like a pattern that needs to go, that's actually not really you, it's just an old human pattern. But I feel like you're not actually going to miss what you have to cut off in order to get free of it, if that makes sense. So if you need to like, and this isn't financial advice, but if you need to like quit a certain job that has more income and temporarily take something with slightly less income that's still survivable, still like good, you can still get by, to get out of it, like you're not actually going to miss it, and you'll actually be able to like recoup that income and more. Like, the octopus grows back its tentacle, or something new that's better and for the highest good comes into replace like what it lost, if that makes sense. And I'm not nailing that message, so can I get the best direct rectification and to the heart message regarding that, please, for them that would help them out. Spirit, angels, source here. If you have to like lose anything to move forward, you're not actually losing anything, is something I'm getting, and it'll be rectified in a good way that's for the highest good, that's positive, return to you tenfold. So if you have to like lose a position at work to be happier, or to get out of this like really toxic situation, it's like you'll get a better position, better pay eventually, if that makes sense. So hopefully that makes sense. It's not like you're getting the problem back, but it's like if you had like a faulty like car and you had to like lose the car, it's like you get a car that works. It's, so hopefully that all makes sense. And, last reminder is just to take time just to be, in addition to all your taking action, and take breaks if you're working a lot. That's going to help you be successful and make it sustainable. And if it's not sustainable, it might not be worth like continuing on is something I'm getting. Like you need to find a different way. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. Anything else before we part ways? I'm so sorry. There's one more thing at least. I know this is like a long one. Because they're showing me the speedboat again, and did I not get it, guys? What do we need to get here? So here's something they're showing me. Maybe some of you, because they're showing me like the concept of a long journey in like a speedboat, but like on the ocean. And it would seem kind of precarious because you know all these stories of like rogue waves that are like hundreds of feet tall, or that would take out like a huge ship, or waves that are really big in a storm. And maybe some of you are afraid of taking a long journey or doing something with your current resources, but I feel like you can make it. And feel free to check in for yourself, you know, if you're intuitive, and trust yourself as well. But I feel like if you're afraid of doing something like a long journey, whether it's, what could be an example of this here? Maybe you're afraid of getting into a new relationship and you don't feel like you have the emotional capacity for it or something like that, but you do. Or maybe you feel like you would like to start, what's another example here? Maybe you feel like you want to start a new career, but you don't feel like you can make the change. Like, I feel like you have what it takes, and like the speedboat can make it, you know, with ease if you trust, and like trust your guidance, and trust trust that you're plotting the correct course is something I'm getting, like, or trust that you will plot the correct course or figure it out, you know, as you go on this journey. Okay, we're gonna close the reading. So I hope that was helpful. Did whatever was for the highest good for you, fire sign, sun, moon, or rising. We're gonna move to the earth signs. And I will, give me 1 second. So, boop, boop, boop. Smiley face. Ooh, that's interesting. Yep. Okay. So, earth signs, sun, moon, or rising. How are you doing? Thanks for the hydrate message. When do you post these on YouTube? Typically either the day after or 2 days after, Monday or Tuesday, is when I've been posting them more recently. Love the noon sign. Thank you. Been trying to upgrade the experience here. I'll answer this. Do you recognize when a spirit guide from someone else is coming to give a message during a live? I'm usually too wrapped up in the flow and doing my best to deliver the messages to realize I think I need to clarify some of that for any of you who have other questions when you hear me say that as well, because I do feel like, what's the best way to say this? For me, as long as it's of the true highest light, highest infinite wisdom, fully for the highest good, it's going to be accurate and helpful for you guys. What's the best way to say this? If it were just my spirit guides coming through, that would probably be fine for you guys. Like, they know what to say. Like, if you watched other channels or channelers, like Lee Harris, for instance, like he channels his guides, but it's still, what the people listening need to hear, or the messages they need to hear, or the frequency they need to hear. Like, in some ways it doesn't matter. I suppose there can, when I like think of the concept of like other people's spirit guides, because sometimes they'll jump in if it's for the highest good, is something I've gotten recently, but it has to be for the highest good of both of us and both of our systems, and it can't interrupt my flow too much, or and spirit guides aren't low vibrational, or shouldn't be low vibrational. If it's an actual spirit guide, it's not low vibrational. So I guess in some ways I don't know how much it really matters. I don't feel like it matters too much, but I feel like there can be a slightly different energy. In the past, there have been times where people were like, hey, what are my spirit guides saying? And it would be, the differentiation they'd show to me would be like, instead of my spirit guides with the clairaudience being like a right here, and like them showing me visuals that are really up close, it'd be like someone shouting from a distance, like with a visual of someone, like an angel far away, or not an angel, but like a spirit guide far away. It'd be like, tell them XYZ. I'd be like, they're saying XYZ. So, but when I'm in the flow of this, like this, as long as it's of true highest specific source, of spirit, highest aligned, fully for the highest good, fully accurate for you guys. It's not lower vibrational than my spirit guides and angels and source would be. I don't know how much it really matters. So as far as like, I was about to get into something else and they're telling me not to get into it. So I apologize. What would be for the highest good? Anything else I'd be for the highest good for me to say about this? As long as it's for the highest good, it's what you guys need, would be for your guys' highest good. It's not harming me. There's healthy boundaries in place, for everyone involved. And it's all fully for the highest good, highest and best aligned. How much does it matter? And maybe that's not the right way to phrase it, but as long as it's for the highest good, Anyways, I feel like when I talk about, it can be a slightly different energy, but it's not what it is what I'm focused on, sort of, but it's not like, you get what I'm saying. I answered the question. Hopefully that was interesting for all you guys. So what else should we talk about? I can feel the difference between channeling different beings, usually, like if it's the angels or if it's, just source, sort of, or if it's like the Pleiadians, or it's like there are different, it'll feel different. Or if I'm talking to, I haven't delved into, well, sorry, I keep going to say things and you're like, no, don't say that. So that's why I get caught up sometimes when I'm trying to talk about things. But what would truly be highest and best for me to say here? Again, I can feel the difference between different beings, but as long as it's of the true highest light, fully for the highest good, fully accurate, of true highest and most infinite wisdom, it's helping, it's not harming, then, in any type of way that's not for the highest good, it's cool, is what I'd say. Should it be in the highest good? So anything else I need to get to before we start the earth signs here? I'm gonna drink more water. So for the earth sign, sun, moon, or rising, and maybe I didn't give the perfect explanation of that, guys, but hopefully that's a starting place if anyone was curious. Earth sign, sun, moon, or rising, this is for you when you see it. So the first thing they showed me was a whale. Like the main symbol for you guys, like a whale showed up. And pretty much one of the themes with the whale, like they showed me the teeth of the whale, the baleen, and it was about sifting through what's for you and what isn't. It's an important theme for you guys, is something I'm getting. I feel like it's necessary right now because you might be compelled to do or feel like you should do like 20 different things, and you're so inspired to take like all this action on like all these different things, and you have like this buffet, but maybe really only 2 or 3 of them are for you and or for your path right now, and maybe some of it's for your path later. But what I'm getting is this exact message, like you need to hone in on the few things that are for you and like really focus and be like very focused with those, and then you can branch out when you're ready, if that makes sense. Because like sometimes when you have momentum with things, you have capacity for other projects or more people in your life, or however this is resonating for you. And when you're trying to get like over the inertia of like 20 different things at once, it's a lot, because you're trying to get all this off the ground. There's only so much time in the day. How much energy do you really have for it? Things like that. So try to find like 2 or 3 things to focus on, especially if it's like projects or like work or people or something like that. And really trust you're going to focus on the right things, and spirit will help you decipher like what's for you and what's not, if that makes sense. I feel like this is regarding anything, but to me, the way it seems pretty prominent regarding like a business or like ideas for, or projects or things like that, but it could be any area, I suppose, or different areas. The other thing with whale spirit animal was like, it's also like a time to kind of take things seriously, especially if you have not been. Not too seriously, mind you, just seriously enough was the exact phrase they gave me. So, is lackadaisical the right term? Like sometimes we're just taking things a little bit more nonchalantly than is really warranted. Like we're trying to start a business and we're like, meh, I could work today. But meanwhile, Spirit has like 20 things that are planned that are backed up if you don't take action today, if that makes sense. So, again, like I feel like just taking things seriously enough is going to be really helpful for you guys. And sometimes we don't realize where we're not taking things seriously enough. But I feel like Spirit is going to kind of give you this maybe sobering moments, or this kind of like maybe it's like a gentle slap in the face, or wake up, wake up, baby doll, kind of. I don't know why that's the word they're giving me, but wake up, pat on the face. We need to do this thing, or something like that. So you guys might be awakened to taking things seriously, and like hopefully you get me. And I think sometimes we just need it the right amount of it. And I don't know why that showed up with whale spirit animal, but it did. So the next message, they showed me a leopard, and it was about taking a leap. You have more than enough strength to do all that you're trying to do, or to accomplish all you'd like to accomplish. Keep going and take those leaps. If they gave this example, like if baby bird never leaves the nest, baby bird can't fly. Baby bird must get pushed if it will not do it on its own. Spirit is pushing you to take a leap, or will, if you have a leap you must take. I feel like this is especially regarding a business or a project, maybe a relationship, but that's just, if it's a relationship, it's like a handful of you. And it could even be like leaping towards someone, or it could be leaping towards like a job opportunity. I feel like some of you are afraid of leaving something behind. It's kind of like Four of Pentacles tarot card, if you're familiar with tarot, where you're just kind of clinging to things. But you kind of like need to, like baby bird needs to leave the nest, so this is like especially prominent if like you feel like, the other thing I'm hearing is like, especially if you feel stuck with something you don't want to be stuck with, but you think you should be stuck with it. Like, you don't have to be stuck with it. Like, you can forge your own path. You can start to forge some of your own destiny. You can start to pry yourself away from, maybe it's something that's like kind of toxic, but you like it on a certain level as well. Or it's, there's some good, but there's a lot of bad. But because of this good, you're like, oh, I don't want to leave this behind. So it's time to pry yourself away from those things. And again, like leave the nest, if that makes sense. Because either there's other nests that would better suit you, or you could build something that's super amazing that the world's never seen before, or for yourself, or just in general. And you got to take a leap away from the comfortable that you feel like you need to do that, or that you feel pushed away from, if that makes sense. And I feel like you'll get signs regarding this. You'll be led through this. You're not just going to be like blindly jumping out of a nest. Really, they didn't like the way I said that. What's the best way to say this though? You'll be led through this, so don't worry. They're also showing me like the words Great Escape. They're also showing me, I've never played this game. This was more from when I was a kid. I've seen it in like magazines or ads for it. It's called like Ape Escape, and there was all these, I think there were like, was it apes that had like these like alarm sirens on their heads or something like that, or they were robots, I don't know. So what's up with the Great Escape here? That's kind of what this is about, is what they're saying, like a great escape from something that's holding you back, or regarding an area you need to take a leap. And I feel like you're going to make it. So next message, they showed me, anything else with that before we part ways here? I feel like some of you are afraid of taking leaps of faith, but you shouldn't be. Like, you've done it before, you've done it a million times. It'll be the same. You'll land on your feet. You'll catch yourself. They're showing this leopard trying to take a leap of faith, and if it feels like it's going to fall short, these like all these tiny little like bluebirds in like a robin, and kind of swing down and like grab them by, with its talons and like its fur coat, and like fly it across, or help catch it and soften the landing, and then the leopard can jump up the rest of the way from there, because leopards can leap high and stuff, I guess. They're kind of showing that that's literally the thing I'm being shown, excuse me, as well. So take the leap, I guess, if you feel like you need to, if you feel like you're being pushed to, if you feel like you're being led to, or you feel like it's time. And use your awareness, use your intuition, use your critical thinking skills, but don't be silly, don't be dumb regarding this. But you hopefully you know what I'm saying, and I can trust you to take this the right way. Next message, they showed me a playground and a tire swing, and with this tire swing, they also showed like a tree branch snapping, and like this, they showed this playground with like swings breaking, and we already kind of talked about this, but maybe we'll go further. They said playtime is over. Play is important. However, it's time to really put the pedal to the metal in a certain area. You're going to be shown where to take things seriously. So we just kind of expanded upon that taking things seriously message, I suppose. And sometimes we're not meant to be like playing in the sandbox of our, like the little sandbox of our lives with, you know, the 3-year-olds. And if you're a parent, this is not what this is about, obviously, but, or maybe, hopefully it was obvious, but, you know, sometimes we're actually meant to do like big things and be like, you know, grown-ups in business suits making an impact in the world. And for some reason they're showing me like someone putting on their big boy or big girl or big person pants, not like, you know what I mean? So, and we can do BOI, because I feel like BOI, like the meme is more gender neutral than like BOI. So put on your big boy BOI pants, and yeah, that's really take action towards your dreams. Really try to do some like bigger things, I guess, or you'll be led to. Kind of a weird message, but if you feel like you're just playing around, I feel like it's time to stop playing around. And I don't need to beat this like a dead horse, so. Not that people beat dead horses. Anyways, I butchered that phrase. Let's go to the next thing. Anything else before we move on here? I feel like, because they're showing these playground swings breaking, and some of the things from your past might be falling apart, but it's so that you move forward is something I'm getting. So, for instance, maybe playing video games used to bring you joy, but now it's just kind of like, and if you're someone who you have a good balance with that and it's helpful for you, it helps you tune out and it's fine, like, you know, listen to yourself. But maybe something used to bring you joy, but it's taking a lot of time away from like what you're supposed to be doing, and like it kind of like crumbles in some way, or it's like not as fun anymore, or you're just like, you know, swinging on the swing in the playground for hours, not as great as it was when I was 5. Like this place that's a lot smaller than I remember it. You know, time to move on is what I'd say. Like, things are only breaking down, so you move forward regarding this message. Next, they showed me a manta ray, and they gave me the word mighty, but the rest of the thing they showed me was like, you are being called to take your energy to where you are valued and where you belong. Otherwise, people might not treat you right. Kind of an obvious statement, and I suppose, I don't know. Manta rays, the way it was kind of shown to me, or the way I was feeling about it when they were channeling this message through, was like, you know, manta rays are like really cool and like majestic and like badass. And, but if they're around people who don't care about nature or who aren't really like awakened to that, like people might be like, whatever, I'm going to go watch the football game and throw beer cans in the ocean. I don't know. I'm sure there aren't many people like that, but, to give an obvious example. So like the manta ray would have to kind of go around people who appreciate manta rays and are like, manta rays are my favorite thing, you know? So if you just notice people aren't valuing you, or I'm going to have to get that message in a second, or people aren't like treating you right, it's time to go where you're valued. Or maybe it's about owning your value more so that you go around people who value you more. The other thing they said, they showed me like this stake in the ground. It was about raising the stakes. So what is this message about here? I feel like Spirit is raising the stakes regarding you valuing yourself. It's kind of a weird message. So let me see how they like to clarify this. Maybe like before you could get away with not valuing yourself a certain amount, like it'd be fine. But I feel like Spirit is really pushing you to value yourself. So the stakes are going to be raised a little bit more regarding your value. Like if you're not valuing yourself, you might feel a little bit more of, the way I've heard it said is like a little bit more of a burn, or it just hurts a little bit more, or it drains you a little bit more, so that you kind of notice it and you take action away from it. Because otherwise you might just kind of stay where you're at forever, is something I'm getting with this message. The next message, they showed me a gorilla, and it was about strength increasing. They said you are strong enough. Spirit is bolstering your strength more so you can take action and overcome certain inertia. If there are any obstacles, overcome obstacles. So you can get out of your own way is something I'm getting. And it's not about, well, let me see what they'd like to say here. For most of you, it's not about going through a bunch of crap to get stronger. It could be. It's really about realizing your own strength and realizing what you can do, and you might like have just a realization about your strength and you can move forward. Or spirit might just bolster your strength without you having to do much. And you're just like, okay, I can do this, for example. So, but I feel like you're becoming stronger so you can take action, and becoming stronger doesn't always have to suck. Maybe it can. I'd like to avoid sugarcoating it, just make sure I can get the best message possible for you that would help you the most. But really the crux of the message is your strengths being bolstered so you can take action. I feel like that's kind of it, actually. I know that might not be as lengthy as the fire signs reading was. Maybe that's a good thing, though. They're showing me this green bird, and they're showing me green man as well. And they're showing me a beer that has Green Man on the can. And I think there is actually a Green Man brewing company. I know I've seen that, but what's the message here regarding all of this here? It's really just saying, like, get out in nature. And I feel like that's going to help you reground. I feel like that's going to help you take things more seriously, see things. Not that you can't see things accurately if you're not out in nature. I'm never here to limit you or your possibilities. Sure, you could hole yourself up inside and play video games all the time, and sure. But I feel like it's going to help you see clearly, help you reground, help you take things seriously enough, help you potentially with a lot of this. Even if you don't think it will, or it doesn't directly do it, like somehow it does. So try to get out in nature and be around things that bring you joy. And I feel like all that's going to help you. And maybe kind of like similar to the fire signs, was it? It's time to like rekindle joy and refine the joy in things you lost joy in, if that makes sense. And just bring that back around to you is something I'm getting. I feel like there are things you enjoy that you've forgotten about, and it's just time to rekindle that. So, okay. Anything else before we part ways here? They are showing me like a tractor or like a bulldozer here. And what's up with this here? So I suppose, I know we're about to close it out, but one of the last messages showing up here is like, they're showing this bulldozer and they're saying for you, like, don't get bulldozed, like stand your ground. What is this about and what does this mean? If you feel like there's a situation in your life that you're feeling bulldozed by, I feel like it's time to push back is something I'm getting. Excuse me. And like really put the effort in that area and like really solidify things. So people can't push you around. Maybe it's even like life can't push you around as much. So kind of a weird message, but hopefully that makes sense. So I'm going to close the reading there. The last thing before we do so, the leopard's kind of reappearing. There was something else that was showing up, but I've lost it, so that's okay. I'm also just getting a message of like, go big, like regarding your dreams, business, relation, whatever you're building or trying to move towards in life. Like, you can do big things and trust that, and don't play small. Okay, so anything else? Okay, no. So I hope that was helpful. Did whatever was for your highest good. We're going to move to the air signs next. I feel like there's one more though. I don't feel like I'm done, and I'm so sorry. These endings are the most funny part sometimes, because usually they're just like, okay, done. But sometimes there's more stuff that they want to sneak in at the end here. You know what? I'm just going to change signs. So thank you, earth signs. So, air signs, sun, moon, or rising. This is, of course, for you whenever you're seeing it, whether you're here live or watching on YouTube, which I repost usually a day after the live or Monday or Tuesday. So there's something extra I wrote for you guys here, and it's how does it get any better than this, abbreviated. That is, they wanted me to talk about that because it's really interesting is what they said. And that's from Access Consciousness. What that tool is, and again, I didn't come up with this. This is from Access Consciousness and that whole modality. No matter what you encounter or some area of your life or something happens or whatever, what they talk about is you can go, okay, how does it get any better than this? And what happens is it kind of makes it better. Something better shows up. And there's a couple different ways you can look at it. For example, like one way I understood it, which may or may not be exactly what they meant, but it's worked for me, is an understanding. And a way to work with it is like when you ask, like, how does it get any better than this? You're like asking the universe, and the universe can answer that by manifesting or actualizing the answer to that. So if you get like $100, like, oh wow, how does it get any better than this? Maybe like maybe the next day you wake up and someone just gives you $200. You're like, oh my gosh, how does it get any better than this? And then maybe someone gives you a car. I don't know. Those are extreme examples, but they have a bajillion stories on that, and I have a bajillion stories on using that and it going really well for me. So regarding anything that's not working out for you, or that seems like it's tanking in your life, or you feel like you're losing something and you don't know what to do, is what I'm hearing. Try asking that question, like, how does it get any better than that? How does it get any better than this? Another thing they'll ask is like, what else is possible? And especially regarding any like stuck places, like, how does it get any better than this? But try asking that question and maybe incorporating that. And you can look up how does it get any better than this Access Consciousness on YouTube if you want their explanation and more of an explanation. One of the books that I read that earlier in my journey that I thought was really helpful from them is Being You, Changing the World Is Now the Time by Dr. Dane here. He's like one of the Access Consciousness co-founders and people. If it feels resonant to you and you feel guided to, because sometimes I'm guided not to like watch certain things of theirs or get certain books or actually a lot of the time, but sometimes I am, and certain things I am. So trust your own discernment on that and your own intuition and knowing and all that stuff. But that tool could be helpful for you. And if you already knew about it, that's a reminder for you, because I feel like it could just help start changing things. And does it really work? It's worked for me. So there you go. Anything else on that before we start the rest of the reading here? I just feel like that's a tool that you should use or would be helpful for you to use. So coming back to the channel message that came through for you ahead of time, one of the main like symbols that showed up for you for your reading was kind of a weird one. It was like a basketball. And the word they gave me with basketball was like bounce. And so we'll get to that in a second. So where should we start with? The first thing they kind of brought through ahead of time besides that was they gave me the word redirection. They just said powerful redirection energies. You guys are not going to be on the same course. It's time to change directions or will soon be. This is for the highest good. So I feel like some of you are really dead set on a certain thing, like a business is what I'm hearing. Like business was the example I heard, or something you think you should be doing, but universe might kind of like throw a curveball or curve it. And it's like, oh, you thought you were starting what's a good example for this? You thought you were starting a women's boxing league. Surprise, you're actually opening a healing center. Or maybe you're like, maybe you think you're going to start selling cardboard cutout storytime books for kids, but then Spirit's like, oh no, you're going to do Reiki. Or I know I'm using like these metaphysical and spiritual healing examples instead of normal examples, and it could be that. Maybe for some of you, never mind, they don't always say that, but it could be different than that as well. Maybe you're trying to start something and they're like, do a different version of this, but I feel like there's something you're dead set on that's not right, and Spirit's trying to show you, and this is just part of that message. And I'm never trying to pull you away from your destiny or send you on the wrong track. To the contrary, I just would like to facilitate what is truly for your highest good regarding these and help you out the most that would be for the highest good, or that I possibly can, or Spirit working through me, Source working through me helps you out the most that Source working through me can. But you understand what I'm trying to say. For some reason, that's what I'm hearing. And it's something better. It's something more aligned. It's like aligned with your soul. It's like your mission. And you're kind of like dead set on something that might be just more like on the human level. Like it looks good on paper, but it's like, it's either not going to work or it's not for you. And, for those of you who've been in business for a long time and you're already doing it and you're confused by that, like disregard. Maybe there's an aspect of it that needs to change, or something else on like a personal level that you're dead set on that would be good to shift. But you get me. Next message, they show me a grasshopper. They just said with a construction. Okay. But with that last one, like you're going to be redirected or shown what the right thing is, or just keep an open mind right now regarding certain things you might be dead set on to other possibilities. You're just going to be redirected from what's not for you. Next message. With Grasshopper, they showed this grasshopper with like a construction helmet and a lamplight on. I don't remember channeling this, but the message is you guys are digging into your stuff, but if you do, you'll be able to take a leap. You are meant for bigger things. Some of you think you are meant for small, but you are not. Don't get caught up in small things. You will be shown what is for you. That could be kind of in tandem with that last message. For some of you, maybe it's a bit more separate or totally separate. Nope, it's not. Never mind. So some of you are just meant for something bigger than what you are trying to move towards or are dead set on. For others of you, if you're digging into your stuff and your patterns and your habits and your insecurities, you'll be able to take like a major kind of leap or leap of faith and like really change things around for the better. One second. Anything else on that one? Nope, not really. So I guess that's the message. Next message, they showed me a waterfall. They just said, you are being cleared of the past. And they showed me this water under the bridge visual that they show me when it's kind of like that. It's from, they want me to tell you for whatever reason, but there's this one episode of Parks and Rec, and I have not watched a lot of that show, to be upfront, but there was one episode where they like threw a party, and I think it was like party because there was some cult in the park that thought it was going to be the end of the world on a certain day, and like some certain people decided to like throw a huge like rager or something, and there's this one quote from one of the characters, and it was some type of conflict he'd had with someone, and he just said water under the bridge. So sometimes when it's water under the bridge, they'll show me the visual of that guy saying that, but they'll also show like instead of like the show behind him, they'll show like a visual of like a bridge with water flowing under it, like a bridge built over a river or something like that. They're also showing me a dam bursting right now. Maybe we'll get into that too. But, they showed me that while I was talking about that. But why am I talking about this? They told me to. But so a lot of your past is either water under the bridge or is going to be water under the bridge. Even things you feel like you're really stuck on for some of you. The rest of the message, they said, like, sometimes, the only thing that's holding you back is fear of what happened in the past or fear of what happened in the past repeating. So the universe is removing your attachment from the past so you can move forward. And can I get a better way to clarify that? I don't feel like I totally nailed it. So I want to just make sure I'm getting to the heart of it for you guys. So for some of you, there is like past stuff that's water under the bridge that you're still holding on to. And that could be why digging into your stuff is important right now, is kind of what they're talking about. It's definitely time to let that go, especially in like any like grudges you had. And for the example they're showing me is like grudges you had from when you were like 3 or like 7 or a teenager or anything like that. Like it's really holding you back. And sometimes you have grudges against other people. It's only holding you back. It's not harming anyone else. You are just digging your own prison, so keep that in mind. Like it might be time to kind of heal and let go of some of that and let water be under the bridge. And instead of holding it all up with the dam bursting message, it could have been that what I just said, like holding things back and not letting things be water under the bridge. But anything else before we move on here? They showed me a cockatoo, the bird cockatoo. I love burb as a word. The meme burb, BIRB. But anyways, with cockatoo showing up here, I don't know too much about cockatoos, but maybe I can get a channeled message on it for you guys here. Maybe just look that spirit animal up and see like what messages come up for you regarding that. And I feel like it's gonna be like the first link that pops up. That's probably not an ad. You can read that, and if you Google cockatoo spirit animal or something like that, or cockatoo spirit animal meaning or power animal meaning or whatever. I forget what it means, but I don't know. Next message, they showed me a Titan. They just said, you are being lifted above your previous levels so you can move forward. We've kind of said that like in a few, maybe not, maybe we didn't say it in a few different ways, but if I haven't said it yet, that's happening. I feel like you guys are being elevated, but you don't like it because it's lifting you away from things you want to keep, even if it's like petty, or if it's like, you want to keep holding a grudge. You're like, no, I want to stay mad. This person deserves me being mad at them. Which is, I understand, and sorry for the South Park voice, but I'm also not sorry about it. Um, I think it's time to elevate and let go of that. And that's part of what the message is about. And, you elevating and going to allow more of your dreams to come in. So I'd be willing to let go of either the pettiness of the past or certain things you're holding on to that, are your previous levels. So you can have what you dream of. Again, like I feel like anything like that, you're only holding yourself back if you're not allowing yourself to elevate. Next message, they showed me sweet. The word sweet, they said moving out of a haze. They said you're snapping out of something. And not all of you are like that maybe, but if that resonates, just take it with a good heart. And this is all to help you. So next message they showed me is the word sweet. They said moving out of the haze. They said you're snapping out of something and seeing things realistically instead of in a fantasy land. The more you're seeing things in a real way, the better you'll be, within reason. We're not saying don't dream, but take a realistic look at your landscape and take appropriate action. What would be the best metaphor for this or way to clarify this further? Can I get clarification for this here? What I'm hearing is some of you have been in fantasy land where like, oh, things are just going to happen. And that can be true. I don't want to limit it. At the same time, again, some of you have certain things you need to let go of. Some of you have certain work you need to do. Some of you have certain actions you need to take. Some of you can't just sit there and expect it to come in. Maybe in certain instances you can, but that's not the message I'm getting for you right now for this reading. So just take a good realistic look of like, where are you at and like what's really going on? And that's going to feed you all the information you need to move forward. In addition to you asking spirit for help or things like that. So the next message here, I'm not trying to like beat up on you guys with any of these messages. They're saying I'm not, so I'm not going to worry about it. Next message, they showed me an uplift. They gave me the word uplift. They just said the divine is uplifting you. So you are going to be uplifted we've been hammering on this, uplifted out of old mindsets, out of your here's a weird one, out of old mindsets, out of your alleged sins, out of your suffering. Have patience and work on you as the divine is helping. I feel like you just have extra help being uplifted. They're also showing like, what is this message? Give me 1 second to see what this. Your third eye is opening wider is something I'm getting. So I feel like you're going to be seeing more clearly regarding all of this and everything we're talking about. And I don't even feel like it's going to be ugly when you see it. Maybe it could be for some of you, but I don't really feel like it's going to be. I feel like it's just like, sometimes you look at the realistic landscape and you're like, oh, that's not as bad as I thought it would be when I was avoiding looking at this thing, or oh, this is much easier than I realized, because you're just like, oh, I've been like banging up my head against the wall doing like ABC. I just need to do XYZ and I'll be fine. It's kind of like an example I'm hearing. So I know we just backtracked to a different message. So anything else before we move on here? Nope. With your anything else? So with grasshopper, there's an additional message because they are showing this grasshopper. What's up here? For some reason, they're showing me a leap backwards, but I want to sit with this before I assume what the message means. So what, and I never do, but what's the message here with the grasshopper leaping backwards? So some of you might feel like you're leaping backwards, but if you feel like you have to take a step back in any area, you're actually going to be springing forward like 10 times greater. It's kind of like a slingshot pulling back. So don't be afraid of moving backwards to move forwards. Don't be afraid, for instance, of leaving a job that makes $70K to take a job that pays $50K a year to have extra time freed up to work on a business that could make you $100K, or something like that, or more. So usually it's more, right? When people are like, I have business success story of quitting my corporate job. I now make $700 bajillion. Anyways, what am I doing? I'm getting like loopy on you guys a little bit, or just having fun with this. But the next message here, they show me a mosquito. It was a message not to get drained. So escape, try to escape from all situations that are overly draining you. Learn to recognize them and stay away. That is a key to success. otherwise you guys might like crash and like you need a month to recover and you're like, why? And then like if you don't learn your lesson from that, you just go back into the same situations, like get drained again and like crash again. You're like, why? You know? So not all of you are going through this, but just learn to recognize. Sorry, one second. Just learn to recognize like when you're getting drained and just stay away from it is kind of what I'm saying. The other message here, they showed me a train and just said, you can make it. And that's regarding your dreams. It's regarding success. It's regarding who you are, who you wish to be, where you wish to be. I know we had that message at the beginning of like redirections from something you're like dead set on. But I feel like that thing you're dead set on might not be as big as you can make it, if that makes sense. So the message is really that you can make it. You can make it to the other side of things. You can make it, you know, with things you're trying to get to. So that's good. That's a message of possibility. And that's a message saying to keep going as well. And there's at least one more message here. There is a message of trauma leaving as well, or just places your nervous system is just shot is something they're showing me. So they're showing me a lot of different things. And some of them might not make sense if I were to try to explain them to you. But one of the things they're talking about is if you've ever looked up EFT tapping, which I haven't talked about or delved into in a long time, I feel like there can be other things that work better, but I don't want to limit it if you do that and it works well for you either. One of the things they talk about is what it's supposed to do. Like an EFT, emotional freedom technique, is like, it's like you tap on these certain pressure points and it's supposed to help kind of move energy, kind of help the nervous system. And like the way they describe it, it's like certain things can happen in life, and like whether it's like a trauma or something else, and your nervous system kind of like, instead of like it being clear and working properly, it just kind of goes like zzz, like there's like a bzzz, you know, like something isn't flowing properly. And so it's meant to like kind of move out the bzzz and get things working properly. And I guess you could say is a very simplified cookie cutter explanation. And if you looked into it, you might hear something more complex and different. But that was one thing I remember them talking about with that. And they're kind of showing this like zzz, like moving out of your system, and the zzz is like kind of representing trauma or something you're really just stuck on. And every time you go to like do something about it, it's just like you trip over yourself, and you're just like, why do I keep tripping over myself regarding this relationship, regarding this friendship, regarding this business? And it's just like the zzz, if that makes sense. So I feel like you're finally releasing trauma that's been holding you back, which is fantastic. Or you're going to be like regulating your system and like releasing a lot of trauma soon if you haven't already, which is good. So we're going to close the reading soon there. Any more? No. So I hope that was helpful and did whatever was for the highest good for to do for you. I feel like you guys are going to be shining. I feel like there are good things for you. I didn't intend for this to be a reading if you felt like it was, hopefully you didn't feel like it's like beating up on you at all. Not my intention, but hopefully this helps you out in whatever ways would be fully for the highest good of you and all. And if you didn't like it, hopefully you have other placements for other readings that are helpful for you as well. So we're going to move to the water signs next. So give me 1 second. Beep, beep, beep. I'm going to keep the how does it get any better than that, because it's good for all. You guys get a winky face because they told me to. So water signs, sun, moon, or rising. This is for you. When you see it, you're welcome. So if you have a water sign, sun, moon, or rising, this is for you when you see it, whether you're live now or watching on YouTube. And so first thing that would be for that's good for me to get to here. The main thing, like symbol that showed up for you guys was like a waterfall. And I know we just had waterfall on the air signs, but bear with me. You guys are being saved from going over the edge. I feel like some of you guys feel like disaster is imminent, but it's not. And it's kind of like spirit puts its hand down and you're kept from going over the waterfall. they're showing this weird example of like maybe you're metaphorically like playing in the water. You're like, yay, business time. And then you're about to like tank your whole career or something. And Spirit's like, not so fast, not today. And it kind of catches your shirt. You know, they're showing it, Spirit or God's hand is like just a giant hand in this visual. You know, God's hand kind of reaches down and like keeps you from going over, grabs your shirts, you know, so you don't go over, puts you on land or something like that. So some of you are being saved from going like too far in something, or you're being saved from something tanking, or you're being divinely protected regarding that, which is really interesting. And some of you might feel like you're about to go over the edge of a waterfall. You're not. I feel like Spirit turns things around. You turn things around. It's going to be okay. Again, I get this message sometimes, but anywhere things like get tanked for you, I feel like it's actually divine protection. So maybe you're going to start a business and it falls through, or you're about to like start a new friendship with someone and they ditch you. It's like, okay, that's just divine protection, you know? So don't worry too much about that. You'll get something better at the right time. Don't worry. It might not necessarily be you, so keep that in mind. Next message, they said life is lifting you out of old ways so you can move forward. I feel like the air signs had a similar message, so yeah, I just feel like that's happening. I mean, what else is there to say about that? What else would be for me to say about that? I don't feel like you need to do anything about that. It's just already happening. They're showing it in terms, like the visual they're showing me with that are like the canals where, I forget which canals these are, but there's these canals where these giant ships kind of like drive in, and there's like this series of walls, and it like they use these walls to like raise the water level. So it's like the ship will go onto this like area and there's a wall in front of it. A wall comes up behind them, and then like the section they're in like fills with water, and then this wall goes down and they're able to move forward, and then it goes up, you know, or something, and then like it raises the water level more, and then they go forward. So maybe it could be kind of like that where you haven't been able to move forward, but now you'll be able to. Next message, they gave the phrase resurrection of you. So this is a good message. Old aspects are coming back to be reintegrated. You have a new you coming. However, it is because you are healing the old and integrating the past aspects for the highest good. You are meant to be whole. This is part of your purpose, is healing your past self. You might think that is lame, but it is not. It allows you to do good things. So anywhere you are unintegrated, that is changing. You might even be bringing in new aspects of yourself, but it could be through integrating the old and, again, healing certain past traumas or working through certain things out of your system. And some of you, it's just an old aspect is coming back online that's been like kind of dead in the water for a while, or it just kind of got buried so that you could cope with a certain situation, you know, temporarily. And now that it's like safe, it like kind of reawakens. You know, it could be like an inner child thing, like inner child don't feel safe, inner child shut down, but now we're in a safe relationship, inner child reawaken. And maybe it takes a little bit of healing or release of some uncomfortable stuff, but you can get there. And I'll tell you this example. I heard this from Lee Harris. I try to give credit where credit is due, because I don't like plagiarizing, but if I'm guided to say something that someone else has said, I'll say it. But the whole thing that he said is like, sometimes when we get in a safe situation, like a safe relationship, and we've been through a lot of traumatic ones, once we're in the safe relationship and we feel safe, that's when the trauma can be like, whoop, that's when some of the stuff comes up to be released, because it's safe now to do that, if that makes sense. Or you have more space for it instead of like being in survival mode. And if it starts coming up while you're in the situation, that's like almost maybe it feels dangerous to you or is dangerous in some way, even if it's just to your system and it's not actually dangerous, you know? So I don't feel like, I mean, maybe that's happening for some of you. I don't feel like that's what this message is necessarily fully about, like partially for some of you, but I don't know why I'm saying this. It popped in and they mentioned saying it, giving the example, so I will. Next message they showed me a forest. The message they gave me was recharge. They said, don't underestimate the power of taking time to recharge and care for you. They also gave this strange message, and I preface this by saying they mean this in a positive way, in the best ways possible. You are a beast, but even a beast needs to recharge. So maybe you're a beast that just like tears through obstacles, and you just, you know, like you just work through all this business stuff, and you do all this stuff, and you're just like, ooh, beast mode. But even a beast needs to recharge, you know, unless you're some kind of solar powered robot, but I highly doubt that you are. I highly doubt it. So honestly, it's about, getting out in nature, recharging, taking time to recharge. Take like a day off in the week where all you do is recharge or something. Do something that works for you. But I feel like you need it. And if you don't, you might end up crashing. So that's just some advice, and see how true that feels to you, but I would recommend it. Next, they showed me football, which is kind of funny because they went from beast to football, which those terms are usually kind of used together. But it was American football, I think. But the message here's a message that's really interesting. I'm just going to read it and we'll clarify later. If you don't know what you're doing, you can get like completely destroyed. So like in American football, if someone like doesn't know what they're doing, they just wander onto the field, they put the gear on, they're like, okay, let's play. It's like they might end up with the ball and they're like, what am I doing? And then just get boom, like plastered. And they said, however, if you learn the game and you learn how to move, you can be the one doing the destroying. And I don't mean this in a negative way. Bear with me. Right now, you should be learning your field, not crying or thinking you can't do anything. What can you do to empower yourself regarding your work? What can you learn to learn how to do things better? What resources do you have is kind of the message. What can you bring in to help you? So this seemed like it was geared towards like work and like knowing what you're doing in work or in like building something. So again, it could be time to learn more about your field or the game you're playing. And I thought it was a funny like pun that they said field, like field, learning in your field, but also like there's a football field. I'm like, but I digress. What else do you guys need to know about this? What else? What would be the highest misinformation to bring through to help you regarding this here? I feel like there are more resources coming in to help you regarding learning. Again, to get you out of places you feel stuck, but also so you don't just get like completely plastered like in business or regarding money or in just a certain area like that. And it could be a message like the more you're learning about things right now, the better. The more you're taking in information that's going to be helping you, the better. Like regarding a specific topic that maybe you don't feel like you know what you're doing or you're not sure how to improve. And, don't get, they literally use the F word. Don't get effing destroyed. Do your best to set yourself up for success. And sure, there are plenty of underdog stories where people just like waltz into a field or a business and they have no clue what they're doing and they just destroy the competition and it's great. I don't feel like that's one of those times is something I'm getting. I'm not trying to limit you or say you can't do this, but if you don't feel like you know what you're doing and you're trying to learn something, like I would try to remedy that. And they're saying that's all I need to say. So we're going to move on. Or anything else. So the next thing they'd like to talk about, because we talked about forests, they showed me a dead forest. They just said you are stepping out of your dead past. And the visual they were showing me with this was like, those like emo music videos or those like sad boy music video games, not video games, sorry, but maybe video games, but music videos where, there's just a sad person singing in like a dead forest or something like that. And all the artists are playing their instruments without them being plugged in somehow. And I used to be super into music. I played guitar for like a long time and tried to do the rock band thing. So I'm digressing. Anyways, they showed like someone like that, like stepping out of the dead forest, or it's like those commercials for allergy medicine. They were like, everything's like dead and brown. And they're like, it's time to use Claritin. And then it like turns like clear or something like that. I'm not trying to get you to buy allergy medicine, by the way. It's just the example they're showing me to show this visual, because they did like stepped out of an old like dead forest into like, it was spring and it was happy and there's butterflies and rainbows and the trees are happy and there's fairies singing in the trees and stuff like that. I don't know, no tricksters, but I feel like you're just kind of stepping out of that and you're done living in the past, which is actually a good thing. So, and clearly there's just more happiness by doing that. And I just feel like living in the past is kind of a recipe for disaster, is another channel message coming through. Like, it's not going to help you move forward. It's not healing anything. It's just kind of wasting your time. Like, you have a whole life ahead of you, and living in the past when you have life ahead of you is just like taking away from your now, what you could be creating for the future. It's just taking away from your, if you want to use that bandwidth analogy, it's taking away from your bandwidth for your current predicaments and what you could be solving right now. I feel like if you were to do nothing but let go of the past, you'd be moving forward like automatically, is something else I'm hearing, and like with ease. So keep that in mind. The other thing they'd like me to get to is they showed me a starburst, like the candy, and they gave me the words star power. It's time to own who you are, step into the limelight, or otherwise go bigger in the pursuit of your dreams. You are worthy of success, and if you don't feel like you are, then work harder. You are meant to be. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. So any clarification on that or additional messages regarding that? Some of you are meant for bigger things than you realize. It's just time to put in the work. And some of you have more star power than you realize. And the more you step into the limelight, the more you'll see that. Or Spirit's going to show you that and help you do that. Or maybe it's even just being more prominent in your field or being more noticed by people in a positive way. It could even be in dating, but I feel like that would be good for you. So let's try to step into the limelight more regarding what you're doing is something I'm getting, especially in any area you're trying to get more success in is something I'm getting, especially if it's work related or business related or anything like that. Social media, of course, things like that. So I feel like the other message I was getting is you're on the road to success, so don't give up. And that's pretty much what I had ahead of time. Because I also gave the words superstar, don't give up on you. So you're on the road to success, don't give up on you. You're meant for more. I feel like it's time, again, to like either go big or go bigger or try for it. Even if it's small baby steps to get there, like try to do something bigger, see what happens. One of the last things that they kind of show me here, and they show me like, the Star Wars spaceships, I think they're the Star Destroyers. They're the bad boy, the bad guys starship, bad boy. I was going to get into a spiel, but maybe I'll do it after the reading. They just said that evil is falling. Any evil laid out against you is just completely falling. It won't last. Don't worry. So if you feel like people are working against you, you feel like people are sending you some stuff, is not going to last, essentially, like is not going to be forever. And those people fall flat on their face really soon after anyways, and they're just digging themselves their own holes. So don't worry about that is what I'd say. Anything like evil is falling. I hesitate to use the word evil or judge things as evil, especially on a human level. I think it can be a trap. I don't necessarily feel like that's what this is about, though. It's, I don't know. Just know that evil is falling. That's what I'm hearing. But actual evil. Not like, Christians think that, I don't know. Christians will judge things as evil that have nothing to do with evil, and maybe they're actually like good for the world. Herbalism's evil. It's like, that's not right. That's modern medicine's derived from herbalism. If you talk to an herbalist and see the good it's doing, you would never say that. But and I'm not sure they even do that. I know I've met some really cool Christians. I'm not trying to rag on them, but sometimes people just have this idea of what's evil that is just so far from the truth that you just want to pull their head out of their ass and just play them 10 hours of clarity and truth. So they just shut up. But that's my frustration. So, and not like judgments of what's clarity and truth based on like religious beliefs or things handed to you by other people, but like from source, intuitive, divinely guided from the divine, actually accurate, actually true, actual truth. Not just people's BS that they think is true. You get me, hopefully. You understand. But yeah, I guess there's one more message here. I'm sorry. I'm on like a different zone right now, slightly, than usually I feel, but I guess I'm having fun. What's the next message here? Before we close out this reading here. They're showing me an antelope and the word run. But they're showing this antelope running away from disaster. So what is this about here? If there's anything that's going to be a disaster, you are going to be far away from it before it is a disaster, if that makes sense. So maybe an example of this would be like if you had a job at a certain business and this business was going to go under like in 2 years or something, or in some time, you'll find yourself shepherded out of that job for maybe even very strange reasons before it collapses. So you're not just like on the streets, if that makes sense. Like it's kind of a form of divine protection, but if something's about to like collapse, like I feel like you'll be steered away from it. Kind of reminds me of, yeah, never mind. That's kind of what I'm getting as well, which is good. So if you're like leaving something behind and you don't think you should be, there could be a reason, is something I'm getting, where it's like you're leaving before it gets bad, you know. And sometimes you're lucky like that, or maybe a lot of the times you're lucky like that, depending on who you are. Okay, we're gonna close the reading there. The last thing they're showing me is this like paper origami thing, like a paper airplane, a paper crane. I feel like things are unfolding in your favor, is what they're showing. So they're showing this paper unfolding, and the words they're giving me are things are unfolding in your favor. So that's the message, and you don't need to worry. Like, you're in God's hands, essentially. Like, if you're doing the work, even if you're trying to do the work and you don't feel like you're doing it effectively, like, you're in God's hands. So I feel like things are going to pan out for you, whoever's finding this reading, whenever you're finding it. Okay, I feel like that's it. Anything else before we part ways? They're also showing me paper tigers, and the quote's like, fear. They're kind of softly giving me the quote, fears are paper tigers. I feel like you guys are going to be overcoming a lot of fear soon as well, and like taking action, and that's good. That's suppose a key to success. Okay, no more. Hope that was helpful. Did whatever was for the highest good for you, for the water signs. Needed it. Hey, Destiny. So glad to hear that you got it in time. You are so welcome. And maybe you've been here the whole time, but hey. Also, shout out to any moderators, any help you guys have been giving me throughout this live. Even if I didn't see you, I just want to say thank you so much, and I appreciate it. So thank you. Okay, here we go. They have me right. Here we go. If you can't read that. So we're going to do a full channel mode message. I am going to, you guys, most of you here are probably pretty familiar with it, but I'm just directly channeling my spirit guides, the angels and source, and rocking that. Excuse me. So I am going to step out of the way, see what my spirit guides and the angels and source have to say for you today. You know, what else do we want to say before we get into this? There's a couple things that, happen with channeling. For example, you know, there's the message and the words coming through. There's also, my rising always resonates with your element channels. Perfect. So glad to hear it. But give me 1 second here. Okay, so there's the message, there's the verbal message, there's also the energetic transmission from true highest most infinite source that goes along with the channel it can be facilitate things like energy healing. It can shift you for the highest good, upgrade you, just do things that are for your highest good. It can also open your intuition if you're meant to channel your channeling, or just open you up for the highest good and only for the highest good more. And of course, I'm going to say this a lot, but it's only for the highest good is what I'd say as well. And there can be more that, you know, again, only for the highest good that happens. So we don't need to limit it, but usually those are some main things that happen that I've seen other channelers talk about, that I've noticed as well. So let's get started here. I don't know why they're showing me a finch, and I'm not sure what that means for this either, but if I were to get a theme, or if they were to give me like a title or a theme for this, as far as some of the things I'll delve into, I feel like a lot of this is really meant to uplift you guys right now, but they could go into any topic that they feel is for the highest good for you guys. So let's delve in. Actually, they want me to tell you one more thing. I did notice that because like the channel I did last week, I thought it was really interesting. A lot of it was about, when I rewatched it, a lot of it was about getting unstuck or dealing with like stuckness. And it was so funny because I just like a few days before I rewatched it, which is like, I think I rewatched it 2 days ago or yesterday. And it was so funny because I just had a conversation with something, and like something they said to me is like, oh, it kind of seems like you're stuck with, like, it's just a certain thing that you're going through. Or a certain like pinch you're kind of going through. I'm like, huh, interesting. Cause that's not the word I would have used to describe it. But then after I was kind of like sitting with that, like that channel message came up about like stuckness and getting unstuck. I'm like, okay, interesting. So it could have things to do with what you're going through, whenever you're finding it as well. Okay, they'd like me to start, so we are going to do that. Welcome to this channeled transmission, this healing session, this channeled message for you, of course, whenever you see it. And we are the angels, we are source, banding together as a collective to channel through messages for you. And of course, it is all for your highest good. You do not need to worry about any of this. And yes, there can be a lot of weird practitioners out there, people who don't come from a good place. But if it is of spirit, if it is coming from source, highest infinite intelligence, highest infinite wisdom, you cannot lose. So we urge you to, with spirit, with source, connect, hone in your intuition. Get good with yourself on these things so you are not tossed and turned about by the many opinions that are out there, by things other people are saying. And that would be a main uplift for you, is you getting connected for you. You getting in touch with yourself, your knowing, your soul, your intuition, however that shows up for you. For that is a key and one of the keys of the way forward in this century. For you is intuition, knowing, or some aspect of that, whether it is channeling, whether it is clairvoyance, whether it is simply feeling into things and the energies of things, whether it is a body pendulum or some accurate method of discernment and yes, no answers, or any other tool that resonates or works for you. If you are working with that, you are going to succeed, because again, that is a key to the way forward. In the past, you could just go along with the status quo, and in a sense, you were taken care of, and that was the way forward. There may not have been as many opportunities to deviate from the set path that many people would go through. For instance, they may have to work in the fields in the 1800s or prior to feed their family, those people, or to provide for themselves, or to survive. But because there are so many more opportunities and there's a changing landscape of this time, your intuition will be the barometer, however you work with it, however it works for you. And if you are not there yet, don't worry. You can grow this. You can work on this. In 5 years, you could be absolutely amazing at it if you were to put the effort in and put the work into growing that skill, which is a skill you can grow. However it shows up for you, it does not have to look like another being's intuition. It does not have to look like Brandon here in the chair channeling divine messages on TikTok. It can look very much like you feeling into things energetically and being like, okay, this pathway feels great. This job feels like it sucks. This boss seems like they are a narcissist, so I'm going to avoid that route. I'm going to go with this path that feels the best to me energetically. It could be as simple as that. So it's tempting to judge yourself because your intuition doesn't look like another's, but that is a fast track to disempowerment, because you are in comparison. You are giving your power away, or being disempowered, because you are not working with the skills and tools you already have. You are looking at something outside of yourself and thinking or saying you're not good enough. And how is that helping you? It really isn't, because if you were to work on your skills and where you're at, you could get there too, or get to a similar place, or to a zone that works for you with those things, even if it's not at the same level, or it shows up in a different way. So we urge you not to judge yourselves regarding your intuition as a key, as your barometer, because however it's showing up for you is right for you in this moment, in this lifetime. And you need not judge yourself based on that compared to another, as tempting as that might be, as great as others might seem, or the way things show up for them might seem. There is a path for you and a reason you work the way that you work and a way that you work. And it matters that you undertake that and work with what you have to grow your skills instead of envying another. And if you find yourself in envy, that is simply a tip, a hint that there is something you can change to better your circumstances in life that you currently don't have, or currently you have not done the work to get there. Or perhaps for some of you, it's about seeing clearly and seeing yourself more clearly, but typically it's because there are changes you need to make, and that jealousy is urging you to look at the possibilities, look at your life now, and look at what you can change to have more of what you desire, so you're not so jealous of another and what they have. And we do not say any of this to beat up on any of you at all, but to encourage you to get to your power, to get to your knowing, and utilize that as the barometer, as the way forward, instead of following the crowd or the tumultuous, varied opinions and beliefs of the different spiritual teachers or the collective or the political leaders or the religious leaders that would really run you into the ground if you were trying to buy all of them, because they are conflicting, they're confusing. Some of them aren't true, some of them have kernels of truth, some of them are sort of true. But if you were to get clear on your intuition and what's true for you, you could navigate it with ease, because you would no longer be tossed and turned about by the tumultuousness of the collective opinion, because you'd know what was true for you, or at the very least, what directions to go as Spirit was guiding you, as opposed to what your mom wanted or your father wanted. And yes, sometimes you have to work through beliefs or certain human things to release certain energies, certain patterns, certain traumas. So you can follow your intuition and not get caught up in the trauma that might have you listening to others' opinions over your own divine guidance. But that is a different story. Why are we talking about all of this? Because times are changing. What worked before is not going to work. And we do not say that to freak you out, as in all your life is going to crumble tomorrow because all these things that used to work for you won't work anymore. If you are keeping up with yourself, how your intuition is working, what's working for you, you'll know when something's not working, and you can change it immediately or find a new tool or resource. And it won't be such a surprise because you're keeping on the ball, you're keeping up with it. But the old ways of the world aren't working. The ways of control, the ways of manipulation, the tactics, the scheming, the mental realms trying to control everything. It is not working. You may have noticed. Why does the world seem like it's in so much chaos? It is transforming. It's tempting to judge it as bad or wrong. It is transforming. You are transforming. And the best barometer to navigate that, to create the new, receive from Spirit. Utilize your intuition. Bring that through you. Ask to bring it through you. Instead of trying to cling to an old that's not working for you or anyone. Because the energetics are ascending. Your energetics are ascending. It's time for new. It's time for a new way of being that is connected to spirits, that is fed by spirits, instead of human beliefs and ego, or things that would steer you wrong. The best way to navigate your life is the way you are divinely guided. The second best way is to seek those who are divinely guided and receive divine messages until you are divinely guided. Then the best way is to listen to you. And when you need help from another, they'll be there. You'll have the right resources. You'll have the right people. You'll have the right tools at the right time, especially if you ask. Ask for it. And sometimes even Brandon gets lost. You do not need to see him as high or mighty or better than you. Sometimes the human things happen. It's tempting to judge those on the parapet or facilitating as having it all together. But boy, you'd be surprised about anyone you thought had it together. Not that this one in the chair isn't doing well. Not that certain ones that might be on the parapet don't have a lot of things figured out. But it's tempting to judge others as better than you because they have something figured out. But what about you? What do you have figured out? What's working for you? And why are we talking about all of this? Because we don't want you to judge you or anyone. Judgment is a quick way to stick yourself. A quick way to stick yourself at a lower point. To give yourself something you have to work through in the future, perhaps. And you don't have to judge yourself for judging yourself. Just notice it. Notice it and it will shift. It can be as simple as saying, oh, I realize I'm judging. Okay. I see that. What else is possible? To borrow the tool, how does it get any better than that? What will it take for me to stop judging? Get curious, as some might say. Start to wonder why that's happening. Journal on it, channel on it, dig into it. You'd be surprised. A lot of it's not yours. You picked it up from your parents, school teachers, people on the news, people on TV. We're taught it's a normal thing. Humanity is taught it's a normal thing. Excuse us. And yes, in some ways it is because it's normalized. But what if it's not meant to be that way going forward, all the way in the future? What if there's a higher way? And that's what we are urging you to. That's what we are urging you to. So do your best to stop judging you. And if you can't, just acknowledge it and let it shift on its own time through the work you're doing, through the way you're showing up for you. For eventually judgment will leave. It might be a long road, might be years, decades, a century, more even. But eventually people will realize it's not helping them. They'll find a different way. Receive it from Spirit. Receive the possibilities from Spirit. That is your way forward. And there's one more thing we'd like to get to for this message, for this session. The waves of change are only going to rise. You might think you've seen a lot of change. You have. In relevance to what you've experienced before. It's only going to increase. This is only the start. Don't freak out about that message. But realize there's more. If you were to stop now, you would be disappointed. You'd be disappointed in the collective, perhaps with where you were at, most of you. Some of you, you're fine. You're happy. Good on you. That is great. We applaud you. Some of you are in the middle of shifting and you would be very, very disappointed if you stopped now, even if you feel like you've done a lot of work. So these waves of change are a good thing in some ways. They just are what they are. But they're bringing you to better. It's another thing this world needs is change. That's why you're seeing so much of it. And Spirit is guiding the way with that. Spirit is helping to assuage the more difficult aspects of the change, unless your challenges are really growing you. But see it as divinely guided. Ask for divinely guided change. Ask that the world is divinely guided in the highest and best ways, with full accuracy, of course, with gentleness and ease. Whatever other words would help you feel more comfortable in a way that's highest aligned with it. But that is another thing that will lead you to better. So know that the waves of change are still rocking. It's not going to slow down. It's going to rise more. But you will see a great awakening because of it, and along with it. And in some ways, the awakening has caused it. The awakening of you, the awakening of others. But it's only going to expand, and that's what the world needs. So we leave you with that. This has been a message encoded with opening your intuition, opening you for the highest good, opening you to possibilities, helping you see what you need to do next. Even if we did not say anything directly about that, the energy is there. So receive what's for the highest good for you to receive. You can always rewatch it if you feel you need it again, depending on who you are. And we will see you on another channeled message, another reading, however you receive from us. And with that, we leave you. May all the best transpire. May your transformation be one that helps the world. And may the highest and best for you show up. Farewell. So I hope that helped. Did all that was for the highest good for it to do. there was one last message about something about succeeding, or maybe some of you are like about to succeed, or maybe humanity is about to succeed in something. I feel like there could be a certain amount of success coming for a lot of you, even if it's just in self-healing, so that's cool. But cool. You're so welcome. Thank you guys for the water reminder. You're so welcome, DMS. Thank you. Thanks, Ruda. Thank you, guys. You guys are so welcome, and thank you so much. I say this every live, but I mean it. I really appreciate getting to do this and channel for you guys, facilitate the readings, facilitate the lives, get to show up for you on social media or however, I get to show up. So I really appreciate it, guys. It means a lot, and I'm so glad it was amazing and exactly what I needed to hear right now. So glad to hear it. It's perfect. So glad to hear it. I appreciate you letting me know, and I appreciate you guys letting me know, and you guys are so welcome. Whew. Thanks for the hand hearts. We so appreciate you getting to show up. Thank you. I don't know if you realize what an impact you have is tremendous for many of us. Thank you, Andy Pandy Pie. I think sometimes I don't, but thank you for telling me, because that means the world. I mean, that's exactly a big part of what a part of what I like to do is having that huge impact for the highest good, the highest impact I can of spirit, fully highest line, fully highest good. So the feedback means the world. It means so much to hear that it's happening. So thank you so much for telling me, and I'm super appreciative that's the case. And to me, that's a form of abundance for me, is getting to have that impact. So thank you. Thank you, guys. Someone mentioned guitar. We can do some Reiki infused guitar if you guys would like to close it out, and you guys are of course never obligated to stay if you don't feel drawn to, but I did practice recently, so I feel slightly more on the ball and ready for it. So I'll do that. What should I do about that here? So I'm torn about self-promoting right now. Why don't I skip it and just do guitar? You guys know if you want to look at what I have to offer, it's right there in my Linktree in the bio or on my website, and you can see everything that's there and go to what you're drawn to. But I mean, promotion-wise, sorry, you guys are saying yes. So membership, I have a monthly membership where I just do monthly channel guided meditations, monthly full channel message that like I just did, but it's longer. It's usually like 40 minutes to an hour, maybe plus sometimes. And then channel guided meditations where I just kind of go channel mode and they bring through a meditation. It can be very energy based. It can be very much about the transmission as well. And recently started doing something I'm not sure if anyone else is doing it. I haven't really seen anything like it, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn by saying that, but it's spoken word, like energy healing. So I call it like audio energy healing. I have some sessions I'm starting to do on the membership there as well. And so if you want to check it out, you can. That's just on my Linktree. You can find it. Then beyond that here, I don't have a lot else going on I feel called to talk about right now. I do have some energy healing courses or classes coming up, but those have like prerequisites to them. So I have Reiki 2 coming up if anyone wants to do that. And that's like next week or this week upcoming. And we have a different thing that's for a different modality that I wouldn't, that's a different thing. So I'll hold off on that for now. It's the second class for a modality I channeled through. So that's what's going on. And then I do have, they don't want me to talk about that thing. Okay. So that's all they want me to talk about right now. I don't, what else should I talk about? I'm so sorry. I'm getting like pulled around a little bit. I'll say that's it for now. And if anything else comes to me, maybe after guitar, I'll talk about it. So, Whoop. Oh, thank you, Andy Pandy Pie. I so appreciate you, Andy Pandy Pie. Thank you so much. Are you teaching channeling technique? I don't read in English. I like to listen. Or have your book. There might be some more things coming up regarding that, is what I'll say. As far as teaching channeling, so I guess I could say stay tuned. Okay. Anything else before I go grab my guitar? I'm gonna go grab my guitar, and then we'll just do some. I'll talk about the rest. So it's just gonna take a minute for me to go get it. So I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. I'm gonna do this as well, just so we're clear. So with Reiki infused guitar, I'm just gonna take a second to, I guess I'll set some verbal intentions. And the premise is, I mean, I'm being a conduit of Reiki while I'm playing. It's flowing through me. It's also flowing directly from source. It's infusing itself with the music. Maybe it flows directly as well. And so you kind of get an interesting sound healing, energy healing mix with it as part of the intention. And maybe it's more energy healing based, but oh, I wish it. So I'm going to do that for a quick second, and I'll just kind of go through any songs I've kind of written that they tell me to play, or maybe I'll improvise a bit. We'll see what they have me do. So give me 1 second here. And so I asked to be a pure conduit of Reiki on behalf of this session, on behalf of all of you tuning in and receiving it. I ask that this Reiki flows only and fully for the highest good, does whatever work would be for the highest good, does only what's for the highest good, facilitates any healing, any shifts, any changes that would be for the highest good, and just does whatever else would be for the highest good. I ask that the Reiki also is infused with the guitar music, with should it be in the highest good every aspect of this, and just goes wherever it's needed and does whatever is for the highest good. So I'm going to draw some Reiki symbols. And may only what's for the highest good come about from all this. And may only what's for the highest good flow and go to you. May only what's for the highest good come my way. May only what's for the highest good to flow through me, flow through me. And let's start. Okay, I think we are done. I'll improvise a little bit more. Okay, we're gonna wrap it up. So I'm gonna set some closing intentions. Thank you, almost fell asleep. I will take that as a massive compliment. So I ask True still the choice, like to wrap up that session and whatever would be for us good. Any energetics that would be for us good to be disconnected. Boom. We're doing that. And I ask that Reiki and the healing energies that were for the highest good to flow and that are for the highest good to keep working, continue to work for however long would be for the highest good until any shifts and changes that are fully completed are completed. Should it be in the highest good, fully for the highest good. And I'm going to say session complete and ask the angels to wrap it up however it would be for the highest good for all of you and for me. And thank you. Whew, so hope that was a good experience, of course. You guys are so welcome. Yeah, I think I need to end the live soon. But it was beautiful. You're so welcome, and I hope that just did all that was be for the highest good for it to do for you. Totally good, and may continue to be totally good. So I'm gonna close the live soon. I might hang out for just a second, but I just wanted to say thank you. You guys are welcome, but thank you for showing up and being here. It means the world to get to be able to do this, and I so appreciate the opportunity to facilitate for you, and I hope every aspect of this just did all that was for you guys good. 81,000.8 likes. That is incredible. Thank you guys. I think that is one of the highest. No, did we get to 100,000 one time? And I'm not trying to push you guys to do that, but that's pretty high if I remember correctly from compared to other lives. So thank you guys. That's freaking awesome. And I appreciate all the love and all that, because that's so cool. Cool. Bless you. Thank you. So bless you guys. And I know we just had Thanksgiving. Oh my gosh, St. Patrick's Day. You know I need to end the live when I call St. Patrick's Day Thanksgiving's Day. But wishing you good luck, out there, legitimately. Good luck in the world. And I am absolutely wishing you guys well. There's one more thing we need to talk about. What is it? I don't know. Maybe it'll come up in the comments or something. You guys have a great week. It was so good to be here, and it was so good to see you guys. And I'll see you a week from now if I don't see you on any posts or content in between now and then. So I'm wishing you well, and have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful rest of your day and week, okay? Looking forward to the Reiki too. Me too. I will see you there. Excited. Okay. You guys take care. Thank you. And much love.